Welcome to Fiery Discourse, your podcast and media featuring dragonesses, female dinosaurs, and other similar saurians and scalies. I'm your host, Ludmillanon, and with me are my co-hosts, Angron, Mathmachine, Stryker, LuckyEevee, and Jordan. And our special guest this week is Shark. Today is our 55th episode, and we're going to be discussing the 2018 Bunnicula episode, Queen Wicked, the Wicked Queen. So, let's get things started.
Nice.
So now Bunnicula started off as a children's book series that was apparently very popular, having several adaptations of it from all different studios. I have actually never heard of it before this show, believe it or not. I don't know what you guys past is with it.
I think I remember my sister owning the book, but I never read it.
I saw a few of the books back in the day. Then the series came out, and I was like, oh, "That looks interesting. I'll check it out." And I did. Then I ultimately forgot. Then I ultimately didn't notice that they made new episodes, this one included. So I don't know when I'm going to get back into it, but hopefully sooner rather than later.
All good.
Read one of Bunnicula's books, and then I heard about the series. I'm like, oh, great. This is going to be bad or worse.
Yeah, the books are pretty good. Surprisingly, they don't actually focus on Bunnicula himself that much. It's only the later ones that did. The first ones are actually mysteries involving the cat and dog characters.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So he was like a minor character in his own franchise, basically.
Until the last couple of books, when his popularity just exploded.
Yeah, I see. So it's kind of like the Urkel effect then, where like a character that becomes so popular he overtakes like the franchise. In other words.
Yeah. It also feels. Sorry, continue.
Stuff.
It's all good.
Yeah.
But this most recent adaptation began in 2018, and it was worked on famously by Maxwell Adams, who is probably best known for creating The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, which is an absolute fantastic, hilarious TV show that definitely holds up.
Oh yeah, and it also holds easily one of, if not my favorite versions of the Grim Reaper. Like seriously, name another franchise with a freaking Jamaican Grim Reaper. I will wait.
Yeah,
no, we cannot. But yeah, it was great. Please spag the egg salad, fraggle.
Yeah, like an angry woman.
Hey, somebody help me!
Yeah,
classic. But yeah,
going back to Lancaster. It also has my favorite version of Dracula. Did I forget to mention that?
Yeah, definitely, classic. So good. Yeah. But this cartoon took liberties with the source material, and it's more of a comedic cartoon than apparently in the books, which was it for the better in my opinion, because it's a little bit more episodic in that, and again, it works out for the best, especially for the type of cartoon it's trying to be, which is an 11-minute, basically 11-minute episodes that each tell their own little individual wrapped up story. And it starts off right away pretty good with the theme song that has a really nice and eerie vibe to it that fits with the rest of the show. They use a lot of the theremin in that.
Yeah, it's not exactly as blatant. It's not exactly as subdued as something like, say, Bleach would. Yeah, seriously, look up Stars by WOD and you can honestly understand where I'm going with that. But yeah, theme's pretty good.
Yep. And it's here with, after that, we get to the episode, and it begins with Chester the cat wanting to read a long book about jazz, and Bunnicula angrily throws it away. And we're going to talk about the voice cast a little bit, because Chester the cat is voiced by none other than Sean Astin, Sam from Lord of the Rings himself.
And
I can't
also
caddy for you, Mr. Bunnicula, but I can caddy you.
Oh yeah, it's also he's that one dad. I swear, Sean Astin. Yeah, sorry. Continue.
Is that go ahead? Is the one dad what?
Really weird stuff then.
Yeah. He's also that one dad from Stranger Things. Sean Astin, if you're listening, I'm sorry if I forget the character's name, but it was also famously Mikey from freaking
Goonies.
Freaking Goonies, yeah.
Oh.
Right. I always forget about that movie when I talk about his roles. But yeah,
honestly,
also
looking at then and now, it's honestly kind of jarring how much. Yeah.
Change. Yeah. But also, it's interesting that Bunnicula is voiced by comedian Chris Kattan, which is very surprising because Bunnicula doesn't really talk so much as he makes I guess the best comparison would be Gizmo from Gremlins.
Yeah.
Gizmo,
Yeah,
Gizmo
he kind of
from
reminded
what?
me of that with the way he makes noise. Now he reminded me a little bit like the Gremlins in a way.
Ah, I
On the
see.
subject of Bunnicula himself, though, and this actually does stem from the original illustrations for the books, he's got to
Yeah.
be one of the best designed characters. If you did not know anything about the books, you looked at him, you would he didn't do anything. You just took a look at him, you'd be like, oh, okay, vampire rabbit, I get it.
Exactly, and the cartoon
Yeah.
really adapts it well, I think.
Yeah. Also, little thing noted about what you said about Jazz. It reminded me of freaking. It reminded me of the B movie where he's like, "You like jazz?"
Oh god, and I reminded of SpongeBob. You must now require a taste for freeform jazz. Classic.
You never let me later in the episode.
Yeah, exactly. But it turns out that Bunnicula angrily throws away the book. Harold the dog, meanwhile, runs to a bookshelf and he picks up a mysterious glowing book. And the
Yeah.
animation here is clearly done with Flash, but it's actually pretty good. It's not as good as like Friendship is Magic is in terms of like being a really good-looking Flash animated cartoon, but it is pretty good.
Yeah, or Bluey for that matter.
Yeah, that too.
I've
But
said
it
this
turns
many
out-
times. Flash can make good stuff. It's just that people are usually lazy and use Flash as a shortcut rather than actually using it to its full potential.
Exactly.
Like in a flashlight program. So
Yeah, exactly. But it
It's
turns out.
Saying the early 2000s, people. This ain't funny,
Yep,
Gil.
exactly. Motion tweening. Ugh. But yeah, the book turns out to be a collection of Brothers Grimm fairy tales, which, fun fact, during their own time period, they were not known for fairy tales. They were more famous for another one of their books, the dictionary. Because what happened is they basically compiled already told fairy tales that had existed for probably in oral form for like hundreds of years. They were like the first to actually compile it into writing and put it in a book. But they were not famous for that in their own time. You know, if you probably went back to, 18th century, 1800s Germany and asked them about the Brothers Grimm, people would probably say, oh yeah, the dictionary publishers, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, they're totally known for that and totally not love the freaking dictionary over here.
Exactly. But yeah, Chester begins reading the book before they get sucked into it. And after they fall into a glowing portal, they awaken to find themselves inside the book. And it's here that we get a really, really fun part of the episode. There was such an awesome art shift to a classical style illustration. And the animals all go from like their cartoony and stylized version to a more realistic look. And it's always fun to see. I've always loved when cartoons did stuff like this, like on SpongeBob when they go out of the water and they become like a live action sponge and a live action starfish on like a stick. Something like that is just so fun. The little like character art shifts like that.
Yeah,
because it's always
I
fun
like
to
they
see.
went the extra mile because they could just simply keep them the same, just change their colors so they look like book pages. But no, they already made different designs for them.
Exactly.
I believe that the designs were either inspired by or an homage to the original book illustrations of the characters and the Ruby Spears special that was the first thing for Bunnicula.
Interesting. That is a really neat touch. If that was intentional, that is a really, really nice little touch there.
That is.
Funny
So
how they
basic-
started as book characters, and this episode has them entering a book, basically.
Exactly.
Very meta.
Yeah, it is.
Very
It
much
is
so when
meta.
I think about that.
Mm.
So yeah, basically the group stumble across different fairy tale characters and they realize they're in the actual book. There's a really funny gag when Chester realizes that they are cursed with something supernatural, but he's too happy being inside of a book to care.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, even though they are inside of a book, we do not get to see them interact with Gumby. Boo.
That would have been a very interesting episode if it was.
Yeah. But anyway, it's here where we get to see. Yep, that too. But yeah, what happens? The Wicked Queen basically passes by them and prepares to give the poison apple to Snow White. Before she can knock on the door, the apple is replaced with Bunnicula's head as his headless body runs off with it. Which is a sentence I was not expecting to say today, but...
Bunnicula's powers are effectively whatever we feel like in the moment. He's basically early Superman.
I see. He's got like Toon Force kind of thing.
Indeed.
So basically,
whatever typical powers you associate with a vampire, throw that out the window. He can do basically whatever the fuck he wants.
Yep. So basically, Snow White answers the door. She sees the witch holding Bunnicula's severed head, and she just quickly closes the door, which is, again, a really, really funny gag. And it's here she transforms from the old hag design to the queen, and she berates Bunnicula for ruining her plan. It turns out here that her name turns out to be actually Queen Wicked. And just a little side note: the famous Walt Disney version did have a name. She was called Queen Grimhilda, according to scripts and promotional material from the time. So,
and then of course, Castle of Illusion, she was called Mizrabel.
Yeah, that's a I wonder where they got that name from. But anyway,
No idea.
I do like how they gave Queen Wicked a unique design in her queen form too. It's clearly taking some inspiration from the famous Walt Disney version, but it also has its own little touches that is really a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
with the color red and that stuff.
Exactly. But yeah, Bunnicula bites and
if you look at a silhouette of her, you'd absolutely see. Oh, okay, that's Grimhilda. But if you looked at her colors, she pops a lot more than Disney's version.
Actually, she does.
Yeah, it could be again the advance in technology, like with coloring in that. It very well could be. So anyway, Bunnicula eats the poison apple, and absolutely nothing happens because, again, he's a vampire. It's just then we get to see the
kill the
stories.
dead.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you kill that which has no life?
Seriously.
Yeah, but yeah, the stories begin to literally start falling apart as the three of them are transported outside of the book. I like how Chester then decides just to put the book back on the shelf and says, "We will never talk about this ever again."
Yeah.
So it's like, out of sight, out of mind. But it turns out that Queen Wicked also followed them and is curious about where she is. And one thing that's really cool is how they changed her design when she's in the quote-unquote real world compared to the world of the book. She has more of a stylized, cartoonish design like how Bunnicula and the others do. And again, that is really, really a neat touch that they didn't have to do. They could have just had her book form in the real world, but the fact that they actually took the time to change it.
Yeah, 2 designs for one character from one episode only.
Exactly. And and basically she's enraged. She's out of it, and she's starting to use her powers on them before she's distracted by Mina, Bunnicula's owner. Which again, clever reference because Mina was the central female character in Dracula the book. So nice little touch there.
That is
nice.
Yep. So Queen Wicked is jealous of Mina's beauty and threatens to give her a poison apple. Bunnicula swoops in to stop her, but she turns him into a frog. Chester and Harold are then turned into a mouse and a pumpkin, respectively. Mina is basically watching TV, then she eats the apple and falls asleep. And then Queen Wicked remarks how she can't help it, and it's how she was written, which, number one, reminds me of Roger Rabbit, and number two, is a very interesting concept in itself, how she can't really control her own actions. Like she was written to be evil, so evil is how she must be.
Indeed.
So then,
an interesting development for, again, a character for one single episode.
Exactly right. So basically she heads to a balcony and she sees all the modern world, and then she declares she has another place to conquer. Harold as if they won because he can't turn around because again he's a giant pumpkin. Is a pretty funny gag.
Yeah, that's one funny gag in the episode.
Yeah, they have a lot of ones like the part where she bumps into the driver who demands she gets out of the road. She retaliates by turning his car into a giant rat, and then it's here where we get, I think, the funniest joke of the episode. She walks past two stereotypical nerds cosplaying as a knight and a wizard, and uses her powers to electrocute the knight. Then the nerd dressed as the wizard basically stares at it for a comedic beat, and then he says, "My powers are real." It's just funny about the way it's timed. It is so funny. Maybe when I'm saying it, it doesn't sound funny, but it's just something about the way it's timed and the way he's just so joyous.
Yeah. It's honestly funny. Like if that could happen, imagine what else could happen.
Exactly.
What I mean.
Again, we get a lot of we get a lot of basically seeing just how petty she is because she approaches two social media influencers and gives them poison apples. She approaches a group of musicians and turns their instruments into snakes. And again, we get another funny moment with the news report, which cuts live to the scene where the reporter is cut to a mouse. And then when it cuts back right to the broadcast, the anchor woman is asleep and the anchor man is a pumpkin now. So,
Honestly, it's pretty jarring, like just how used that town is to magical phenomenon, like ghosts, digital crows, vampire bunnies.
When it gets to the point where everyone is like, "Oh, this is happening again." Whatever.
Yeah, it's like freaking Hilda it's like freaking Hilda in a sense, where like all the magical stuff is just commonplace, even though in Hilda it's a little less common. But here it's just like, oh hey, a giant freaking dragon is torching the entire town. Well, off to Starbucks.
We'll get to that in a little bit. But yep, what happens is Chester then declares that they have to find a way to stop it, while Harold attempts to use his tongue to turn himself around a funny gag. Yeah. It's then when he gets the idea to basically rewrite the book to where Queen Wicked isn't evil anymore. And meanwhile, we cut back to Queen Wicked causing more havoc. Then she sees a bakery and she enters it. She demands to know what it is, and the clerk to basically ask her what she wants. And it's here where we get a really neat character moment where she's basically stunned by this because no one has ever asked her what she wants to do before or wants with anything, and all she has known is to be evil. And she's never asked herself that she wants to be evil. And there's a funny gag with the clerk behind the desk, basically still trying to sell it. He's like, so you still want bait? You still want beignets? Like that.
Yeah.
And again, he's voiced by Jeff Bennett, who's probably best known for being Johnny Bravo, and again, legendary voice actor right there.
Oh, hell yeah!
I like how the important question that makes her reflect on her life is not something like, "Are you happy?" or "Are you doing what you want?" Is some guy going, "What flavor of ice cream do you want?"
Exactly.
It's also one of those really funny things that this is an 11-minute yuck cartoon that is happy to tackle the philosophy and existentialism of personal choice and autonomy.
Yeah.
Exactly. That is a very good point.
Yeah, like, this gets deep.
Oh, hell yeah. It gets real deep. And it's all from her. And it's all from one guy at, hey there, want a beignet? He's like, existential cause.
Exactly. That is exactly
Maxwell Adams' career, by the way.
Like, next time, just imagine someone going to the pizza shop and just like, hey there, would you like a pizza? And it's like, oh my god, what am I doing with my life?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I mean, weirder stuff has happened in lesser places. Just to let you know.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
But yep, now it's the moment where we're covering this on the podcast because she declares that she'll take all of them, and then she transforms into a dragoness. Now, sadly, the transformation is done basically like a puff of pink magic, but the design is a really, really good one. I always like when the scales take inspiration from the dress, and it's here that they do that. And the golden horns are like her jewelry, which is a really nice touch. The enormous pair of crimson...
She can still talk in her dragon form.
That too. The enormous pair of crimson wings are fun, and of course, canonically thick. Haha.
It's also funny because, like, it also reminds you of that one thing where it's like, all of them, and it's like, all of them? All of them! Like, don't make a meme of that.
Yeah, it's...
You mean like one of each? All of them!
They should do that with like the movie from Leon the Professional, the scene from Leon the Professional. Send in everyone. Everyone? Gary Oldman.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Also, Lud, you are underselling it. She is not just traditionally dragon thick. She is dummy thick.
Yes, she is.
I can see that.
They had fun designing her, and you can definitely tell that.
All that beignets had to go somewhere.
Or what happens next, we can tell she likes to eat.
Yeah, definitely.
She's definitely a glutton. Not just for punishment either.
But yeah, like you said earlier, it's really nice that she gets to talk and that she still keeps her voice. It's slightly pitched lower, and again, I always like that when they actually take the time to put that in. It really, really is a nice little touch.
Little details like that you appreciate.
Yeah, exactly. So she storms out of the bakery, still in her dragoness form, carrying an armful of the pastries before basically devouring them. And the fact that she really enjoys being in her dragoness form is very interesting and something that they, again, it's an 11-minute short, so they couldn't cover on everything. But it would have been nice if we got just a tiny bit more of it. But again, I mean, this is an 11-minute short, and she's a dragoness for about like maybe 30 seconds. That's about 5% of the cartoon, so it's not bad, you know.
Oh yeah, it's impressive for a cartoon of this length.
Indeed.
Again, they didn't have to make it. They make actually 3 designs for a character for a single episode.
Yeah, exactly.
People have just taken the vignette in her human form, but nope, they had her transform for some reason. They like dragons.
Adam loves to go above and beyond.
Yeah, exactly.
Actual Adams, baby.
Yeah. We then come back to the pets as Chester writes that Queen Wicked suddenly stopped walking as she does so. He then writes that she returns to the basement as she magically does so, and she returns to her normal queen form.
But anyway.
Yeah, shame. Would have been nice to see her still as a dragoness, but he then writes that she undoes all of her magic, which causes her to do so. And after everything goes back to normal, Queen Wicked threatens to use her magic, but then she's basically sucked back into the book. And again, you do feel somewhat sorry for her because all she wanted, really, aside from doing evil and causing havoc,
being able to
having
have
the
a
ability
choice.
to have choice, have free will. It's again, something like an 11-minute, wacky fun time cartoon thing. Really goes places that you would not expect it to.
Oh hell yeah!
Just given a chance to make her own choices.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly right.
Independence.
Exactly.
And also kind of reminds me of freaking Into the Woods, where like Rapunzel and that freaking witch that cared for her, like the witch goes full on like abusive sort of maybe not abusive, but more like manipulative to like keep Rapunzel there and pretty much eradicate her free will, more or less.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. But apparently, I guess they felt the same way because Harold basically says that his logic is wrong and that Queen Wicked has no choice to be evil. And then that causes Chester basically write that Queen Wicked finally had free will of her own.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Like, out of all the characters, the one who ultimately had to like set Chester straight was the guy who's pretty much there for comic relief, and yet he's also adorable doing it. It's like Zim, except a little smarter and also can speak. But anyway.
True.
Well, it's like Ed in Ed and Eddie, where he sometimes is the one who knows people the most, per se.
Exactly. Yeah, that is a very good point. That is a very, very good point. But yeah, basically, now that Queen Wicked has free will, she tells Snow White not to eat the apple and walks off, and she's happy that she can finally be herself, which, again, a very, very nice ending. And sadly, this would be the only appearance that Queen Wicked would make on the show, and it's kind of unfortunate. Could have had her show back in some capacity. And because
a nice little reference or a callback, or even
that
like,
would have been nice, or even like a cameo or something. But this is the only time she shows up in the whole show, and
maybe
steals this whole episode.
Dragon design as a mascot for the bakery or something like that.
Yeah, that too. They could have done something like that. But it's here we get to something I don't normally talk about, which is the ending credits, because the ending credits of this show are incredibly fast. Like, it reminds me of like a joke they had in the Fairly Odd Parents, where Kaza goes, "These are animation credits. You're lucky if they're on for half a second." And it really does feel like that. It feels like it's like somebody put it on fast forward or that. It's like I actually had to like slow down the video and pause it just to see who did what with it. And it's a shame. But yeah. Wow, that's really it.
Normally with cartoons, they don't really care about it's like, since kids don't really care about the credits, they want to get on with they want to get on with the cartoon, and they want to see what's on next.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically what happened is Bunnicula itself would last for about one more season before ending, and Maxwell ends shortly after. Maxwell Adams stuck with Warner Brothers and Cartoon Network for a surprisingly long time. I think he might have been the last of the original guys to be there like full time, because I know Craig McCracken worked for other studios, and Danny Antonucci basically retired and does his own thing now.
Yeah.
Adams is the one who like stuck with it and just completely stuck with it.
Mm.
He
Yeah.
apparently worked on like
Actually.
Scooby Doo projects. He worked on the infamous Courage meets Scooby Doo crossover. So
Mm.
hopefully we do not have him to thank for Eustace Bag rapping because ugh, no.
Yeah, no thanks.
Ouch, ouch,
Well,
ouch.
and
But
poorly.
yeah, he apparently left in 2023, and one thing I remember reading is Danny Antonucci actually wrote on his like a goodbye post saying something like, "So you finally left Sam Register's garbage factory" or something like that.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, as a whole, I really think that Bunnicula is a really, really fun cartoon, and it was way more fun than I expected. When I first saw it, I expected it to be like, typical, kids show. It could be fun, it could be cute, but I really enjoyed this way more than it had any right to be. I definitely want to check out more episodes of this TV show.
Yeah, you should. It's pretty fun. Also, oh man, I read what you said about what Danny Antonucci wrote on that freaking poster in Eddie's voice.
Oh God.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh man.
Oh wow.
Danny Antonucci, if you're listening, you probably did you proud. Who knows? Oh man.
Yeah. Well, but now it is time for the question of the episode, which is, what is your favorite horror cartoon? And I'm going to start. Now, there's a couple of them I could pick. I could pick everyone's going to probably say at least Courage the Cowardly Dog, so we'll get that out of the way right now because that's a Stone Cold classic. Yeah. There's a surprising amount of horror anthology cartoons. I know that Tales from the Crypt of all things tried doing a kids show. The problem being this was like the 90s, so they really had to tone it down. I mean, granted, you weren't going to have like on the actual HBO show like the vulture ripping out the guy's eye, which still gives me nightmares to this day ever since I saw that one. Ugh. But
Tales from the Crypt was
cartoon. It was
originally for adults, actually.
Yeah, it was. The HBO show was. But it was so popular, they made a children's spin-off show that actually got John Cassier to reprise his role as Crypt Keeper. And
that's cool.
I felt like they toned it down way too much. Like, again, they couldn't have made it as scary as the original show, like with the violence and the sex and stuff like that. But there's ways you could have done it, still have it be eerie. And it didn't really focus on that. So I'm going to go with my choice. It's going to be a very interesting one. Not a lot of people think of it as horror, but it definitely has a lot of horror elements. That's going to be Invader Zim.
Oh, wow.
My sister would choose that, actually.
Because it had a lot of episodes that were really, really like dark in that. I mean,
hell
always had like a one tongue that one alone, like that really.
A lot of people would choose Dark Harvest as one of the scariest episodes.
Yeah,
not for me. That would be Bad Rubber Piggy because he almost murders Dib.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
He was meant to die actually, but Nickelodeon said nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
that was the same with like the Easter egg,
Bloody Girl,
yeah. Bloody Girl, yeah.
It was actually going to show up in an episode, but they said no. So in retaliation, he basically decided, well, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to put it in as much places as I can where no one will see it, but it'll always be there. So, but that is actually going to be my pick for my favorite quote-unquote horror cartoon. I know it's not technically horror, but it's horror adjacent, at least enough to where I think I could call it that. And again, this is Western cartoons talking about, not really with anime. I just want to... Charlie said mentioned that earlier, but it's all good. So, Angron, what would your pick be for your favorite horror cartoon?
Well then, let me think here. On that note, I would honestly have to go with Gravity Falls. Now, granted, there's a bit more lighthearted stuff to it that kind of makes it a little difficult, but compare that to Owl House, and the difference more or less is night and day. Because seriously, Gravity Falls can be pretty dang creepy when it wants to be.
Even it can be.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, especially the finale.
Oh, Weird Mageddon. Holy shit, man.
Oh, yeah.
Bill Cipher alone makes that a horror cartoon.
Also, their Summerween episodes. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah, Summerween was kind of creepy.
Kinda, yeah. But
And
oh
the
man,
monster of the episode had a really
It was
dark
effective.
design.
oh yeah. It's also, but yeah, it pretty much started a somewhat trend with freaking Disney Disney Channel for a while, but yeah, there's honestly nothing like it nowadays. No matter how hard they
No, there
try,
isn't.
there'll always be a Gravity Falls. Stop critic, I hear you out
Definitely.
there.
Yeah.
That's my pick.
Yep, that's a really good pick. That is an excellent one.
It is.
Yep. So, Stryker, what were you going to pick for? What is your favorite horror cartoon?
I'm gonna get this out of the way right now. I'm a massive horror buff when it comes to this subject. I'm a massive buff for this.
Mhm.
And I'm actually gonna choose one that I'm not sure anybody would actually think about.
Oh, yeah?
The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
That's true.
Yeah, definitely.
Because most of the time,
Yeah,
the episodes never have a happy ending.
Exactly.
true.
That's very true. It's something when you think about it, and then you actually really have to consider it. You are right. You are absolutely right with that.
And I remember the episode with the fucking bunny.
Oh yes.
Oh my god,
yes.
the wig making.
Yes.
Yes.
like-
Exactly.
Scar's death still haunts me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still remember the episode where they went to visit Father Time.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Oh, that was a funny
Again,
one.
it's something that you don't think of as being scary because, at least for me, I always thought it was being funny, but then you really stop and you consider it, and you have to process it. Now it's like that really is some dark stuff.
Oh hell
It's like this was a kid's show.
They kill off
Yeah.
characters like nothing sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a
No,
lot of
yeah.
death in this show, but then it's
A lot.
next episode everything's back to normal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think, and I remember reading that actually reminds me a little bit of something. Maxwell Adams actually said if he tried pitching Billy and Mandy today, he probably wouldn't get it through because he actually said, I remember reading this, that an executive basically said to him, to his face, and he is a better man than I because he was managed to restrain himself at that point. The executive basically said something like, this is during when Cartoon Network was trying to do all the live action stuff. They basically said to Maxwell Adams, they're like, you and your hateful fart cartoon has ruined this network.
I remember that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, that is a real jerk move.
And of course, I love this show so much that I actually
Same.
years later bought the game that was based on it.
Oh,
on
nice.
PS2.
Oh, fighting
Oh yeah,
game, right?
one. Yeah, the fighting one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Again, they got everybody back for that game too. You know, it wasn't like they can only get a few voice actors here and there. No, they got literally everyone. They got the
Even
original crew to
Will
work on it.
Trier,
And,
Weird Al.
yeah.
Damn, that's
they
impressive.
did. It was impressive.
Awesome.
Exactly.
I still remember the show fondly and even quote it to this day. I even love the episode where they had Arlie Ermy as a guest voice.
That's a hilarious one, yo.
Yeah.
I
Arlie
misread the signal. I know someone who once misread the signal. Now he eats through a straw.
Yeah, that's one of the best. It's the one with the Fraggle.
Yeah, it is, right. Wow,
Oh,
it's two
man.
classic jokes in one episode. That is fantastic.
Oh my goodness, I still love that. That's still one of my favorites. But no,
Oh,
the
man.
episode where Billy transforms into chocolate is still
Oh, that one.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
that one too was another hysterical one.
Oh man,
It's even funnier here because the guy who does the dub for the Chocolate Sailor is actually the official voice of Mickey Mouse. That actually made it funnier that they actually got the guy who voiced Mickey Mouse to do the voice of the Chocolate Sailor, so it's twice as funny. And I was like, all right, Billy, you have to pick between these 4 chocolates: mutating marshmallow, caustic cream, horrific hazelnut, or the antidote. And then it's like Billy slowly reads the names back, and it's like, and they just then he just eats the whole thing.
It's the entire thing.
Oh hell yeah!
It really shows, again, like this show, the timing. The timing was so perfect because he slowly reads each description, and it's like, okay, come on, what's he gonna do? And then when he waits for like a whole beat, and then when he just eats the box, it's like perfect.
And this is Billy. This is the entire show in a nutshell.
Exactly.
A happy ending. Billy dies, and it's implied that Mandy and Grimm eat him.
Exactly.
Maxwell Adams had such an understanding of comedic timing. I would be shocked if he never had any experience in vaudeville.
Oh hell yeah!
Exactly.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
amazing.
It's also funny that freaking Deirdre Bader, the voice of Batman, and the guy who played Rex Kwon Do, Napoleon Dynamite, did easily one of my favorite macho funny characters. Freaking Hoss Delgado.
Yeah,
It's another favorite character.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Hoss Delgado.
Hoss
Classic.
Delgado doesn't drive stick.
Yeah. Wow. Nice.
Billy and Mandy, that was funny. It was where Billy got baked into a pie. He kept, I like pie. He kept going on and on.
Yeah, that too. Classic.
Richard Horvitz is my spirit animal. Fight me and lose.
Yes, and I'm still glad he's getting work today.
oh hell yeah!
Hell of a boss, especially. Oh my god.
Yeah.
We better move on to the next one before we start a whole.
Oh hell yeah!
Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
So, Matthew, what would your favorite horror cartoon be?
I'm going to pay homage to the classics. These are two series that are some of the earliest series I ever remember watching, and they still hold up as some of my favorites. The 1992 Hanna-Barbera Addams Family cartoon.
Yes,
I've never seen that.
And the Beetlejuice cartoon.
That's another classic.
Right.
I remember that. I don't know if I really saw it, but I do definitely remember it. And really, that's crazy that they made a cartoon out of that movie. When you actually rewatch the movie, it's like, oh, him and Lydia are best friends. It's like in the thing. Beetlejuice is a freaky little perverted guy.
He is. The movie is definitely not for kids.
No, I saw it when I was a kid, but
I mean, not the first time they make a cartoon of something that's
I did too.
not for them.
Oh man.
I saw it as a kid. I was terrified of it.
I think I just find it funny as a kid, believe it or not. I think I didn't know half the stuff he was doing, but
yeah.
That was the problem. It's just like it's funny because like he's got that wacky zany energy, but yeah, no, that was a good. I very vaguely remember watching the Beetlejuice cartoon too, and that was really good.
I never saw either of them. Addams Family, Hanna-Barbera especially.
Yeah.
It was actually really well animated. This is from the 90s, so it's obviously when Hanna-Barbera actually started animating.
Okay.
Like they were serious about animation.
Hi, Powerpuff Girls.
It's more based around the 91 movie than it is the classic Addams Family, which is why their designs look different. They got John Astin back as Gomez.
Awesome.
Well,
that is good.
And it's very episodic, like you would hope from the Addams Family. And because it's early 90s, they were able to do a lot of weird shit with the animation, and it works.
Oh, yeah.
The Beetlejuice cartoon is just fucking insane. I'm not sure how to describe it otherwise.
I don't doubt it.
Episodic, but it's like basically every kind of joke that you would expect from the movie, they crank up even higher in this series. And I'm like, how the fuck did you get away with this in a cartoon in the 90s?
Same way Powerpuff Girls got away with shit back in the day. And a bunch of other cartoons in the 90s.
It was like back then, the 90s, early 2000s, no one really even, no one cared. Well, they cared, but they didn't care, if that makes sense.
No, it's a kid's cartoon. They'll figure it out later.
Exactly.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. But those are really, really two great choices. So, Jordan, what would you have to say is your favorite animated horror cartoon?
Ooh, that would have to be the My Little Pony movie that came out like in 19 something, like years ago.
The
It was
80s
kind
one?
of dark. Hmm?
You mean the 80s one, the original one?
Yeah, it was kind of dark when I was little, but I like how they had one thing about the smooths. Can't get that song out of my head sometimes when I think about that
Nothing
old
can
movie.
stop. Oh.
Exactly, that one.
Right.
I mean, it was dark, like how the entire of Ponyville was kind of like all covered in smooths, and it just like makes it like, holy crap! Look how detailed they have it, all dark and purplish, and it's just gone. Their whole home is destroyed.
Take a
And
step back, Malice from Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Kinda looks like,
But
not looks, but acts like it.
yeah,
Exactly.
but that
And like,
kind of what I kind of grew up watching a little bit. I didn't watch a whole lot of dark, creepy horror movies when I was a kid. I never liked being scared. I like to scare people, but never scared myself. If you know what I
I
mean.
make you
yeah,
think
makes
twice,
sense.
though.
either. Nowadays, I love horror, so.
I love horror too.
So yeah. Also, Shark, what would you have to say is your favorite horror cartoon? Let's talk to our guest for a sec.
Well,
Mhm.
I was gonna say Invader Sim, but I just remembered another one. The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack.
Oh my gosh!
Yes.
Oh dear God!
Jesus.
Not only
Oh,
the
man.
close-ups, but if you're like afraid of the sea, the creatures they find sometimes like ooh, and the art style they give to them and stuff is really creepy sometimes.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, it is like unsettling.
Oh yeah,
Like-
this was back when freaking JC Quintal was first starting out at Cartoon
Oh, yeah.
Network. Like this was completely original stuff here, and like compared to his other works, like freaking what was it, Regular Show and Close Enough. Like I don't think anything can top this. Generally, I mean, granted, it's not well. Nah, never mind. It's pretty memorable.
But yeah, they
It is
totally
very.
come out of nowhere. Like remember the cat?
Oh god.
Oh God, the cat!
Hey, they're cute.
The
Yeah.
zoom in on the face, like the highly detailed zoom ins, like from SpongeBob, except
Exactly.
let's
except
make
horrific.
it terrifying.
The
Let's
cartoons
also add
themselves,
that freaking
like in the orphanage episode, she's here.
Exactly.
Oh god, that one. It's also like every time they do like a still with like highly detailed stuff, there's always this scream that follows like oh
Exactly,
every time.
Yeah.
One of the
Oh,
more interesting
man.
things about Flapjack to me is that basically Flapjack is the reason that the head creators at Cartoon Network now, they all came from this show.
Yeah.
Very
Well,
fascinating. So it was like
Wasn't Pendleton Ward actually on this show?
he was. I believe so. Yeah.
Well, dang.
And from there we got Adventure Time and Regular Show and Steven Universe. Basically, yeah, every single Cartoon Network show of like the 2010s really could be said to originate from this show.
Well, dang.
Yeah.
That is impressive.
It is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really, really good pick. And LuckyEevee has decided to pick Courage the Cowardly Dog for his favorite horror cartoon, which, again, great pick right there. Absolute classic.
Oh yeah.
Someone had to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that would probably be all of our top choices. That's why I wanted to go a little bit more obscure with some of them. But, yeah, no, Courage definitely is the winner because there's something about that show that, again, I like Powerpuff Girls, I like Ed and Eddie, I like, all the other stuff. But for me, Courage is the best Cartoon Network show they ever did, even more than Samurai Jack, if we're being honest.
Well,
Just because it feels like there's something about it that just feels so, I don't know, timeless and...
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know, it's hard to describe. It just feels something that's very... Yeah.
As
Very
much as I prefer Billy and Mandy, there's something I can't hate about Courage.
Same.
Exactly.
Same. It's not at my top 10 or anything, but it is very much it's a very much a part of Cartoon Network's history, hands down.
Oh,
Definitely,
for sure.
Definitely. So, Yep. So now it is time for the patent pending Dragoness Scale. We're going to rank Queen Wicked. Now, this is going to be a really interesting one because, again, she's in this show for not that long, but then again, the episode's not that long. She has a great design, great voice, basically, real fun characteristics with her. I would have liked to seen her as a Dragoness a little bit longer, but again, that's just my personal preference. So I don't know if I could give her a 10, but I am going to give her a 9 because she really hits pretty much every single button that I like with a Dragoness. She is really just like perfect in a way. With the voice, with the design, with the, transformation. Maybe if it was a little more detailed transformation, but again, you have to realize the time of the show that they had. It's only an 11-minute show. They couldn't have like a 5-minute transformation sequence.
Probably the budget too.
That too, because it's a flash show. But again, I really feel like it's just, I don't know, something indescribable holding me back from giving her a perfect score. I really, really want to,
That's understandable, yes.
It is so hard sometimes, because again, when you get Dragonesses like this, they're just so really fantastic. It's really hard, like to say like what score should I give them, but for this one, I'm probably gonna go with the 9. So, Angron, what would you give her?
I'm gonna go a little lower and give her an 8 out of 10. Nothing against her character, nothing against the dragon design, nothing. It's not like that. It's just A, I'm not that big a Bunnicula fan, and B, Queen Wicked herself, despite being pretty impressive, is there are others that do better, basically. But yeah, I absolutely agree that she is 100% up there.
All right, that's good. Stryker, what would you have to give her?
I think I'm gonna have to go with an 8 because
Nice.
I did enjoy the design. It's just like you said. I wish they would have. There would have been more time with her, maybe in a different episode. But from what we got, I'm impressed.
Same.
Definitely. So, Math, what would you have to give her?
I am going to jump off that cliff that you could not, Lud. I am giving her a 10.
All right. Nice.
Love the design. Incredible design. Just both as the character and the dragon. It's Maxwell Adams. He does great character work. Also, I just have to say this to get it out. Thank you, Maxwell Adams, for making her dummy thick. We appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. He's based.
He's based.
The reason I'm giving her a 10 is because in this 11-minute short, she is a more complete and just all around full story arc character than most movie length villains. The whole existential crisis and meaning of autonomy thing that I was talking about, they did that in less time to give her a full arc than I've ever seen anywhere else. That is incredible.
That is a very good point you have.
You know what? You have convinced me. You have actually convinced me. I'm going to go back and I'm going to make my thing a 10 too.
You know what? I'm going to bump mine up to 9 just to be a little generous.
All right.
I'll make mine a 9 too.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow. We all go up one. So, Jordan, what would you have to give her?
I thought about maybe an 8, but I guess she's a 9.
Wow.
In my book.
Nice.
I mean, I love how when she was in her book story, she was kind of cool, but then seeing her in her dragon form, like, okay, she's got some badass look, but you can't judge everything to be perfection in all things.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
And LuckyEevee here wrote that he gives her an 8 out of 10 for reasons that he's not explained, but that's all right. And that would go on to our guest of the episode, Shark. What are you going to give her?
Yeah, I was thinking, and I'm going to go with a perfect 10 too, because for a one episode character, they did a lot with her, actually. Like I said, they gave it 3 designs: her book design, her human in the real world design, and the dragon design. And yes, she goes through a complete character arc from learning who she is and to make her own decisions and stuff. And even though all of us wish she had more screen time as a dragon, what we got was really great, actually. Like, the personality, the way she speaks, what she does, it's just perfect. So yeah, it's a 10 out of 10 from me.
All right,
Yeah,
that is
man.
awesome. So really high score this week.
Oh,
So
hell yeah.
that's going to be it for this week's episode. If you have any questions, or if you want to send us your ideas of what Queen Wicked should have done as a dragoness, you can email us at fierydiscourse@outlook.com, or visit us on Twitter at twitter.com/fierydiscourse. Next time, we'll be discussing the 2003 Kirby Right Back at You episode, Fossil Fools Part 2. That's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of probably DDD and S-Car Goon impressions are going to happen in that one, so you're not going to want to miss that. It's just,
We gotta climb with that there Kirby.
oh, sire, you're a hero to us all. That's going to be so much fun. But yeah,
I'll be the odd one out doing Meta Knight.
nice.
I cannot allow you to go any further. Anyways.
But yeah, thank you all so much for watching this one. And until next week, take care.
Later.
Adios.
Adios.
Nope.
See you next week.